go and you start. You want to welcome everyone?
Sure. So welcome everybody to our Lunch and Learn on using IFS or internal family systems, specifically in the perinatal population, and looking today around the idea of cultural burdens. With that, we'll just start with a quick introduction of the two of us, and then we will get into it. So my name is Kelley Hassenpour. I am a nurse psychotherapist. I am located in Ontario, Canada, just north of Toronto, really. I came to IFS through my own therapy journey. For those of you who already are a little bit familiar with IFS, I always say that my own therapist once used the word manager in a session, and my little managers all popped up and really liked that. And that was really my introduction into IFS. After that, I obviously started to incorporate it into my own practice. I am trained through IFSCA here in Canada. So I've done their Stepping Stones and Stepping Deeper course. Christine will tell you about her experience as well. But I think not to speak for both of us, but both of us just find IFS a beautiful way to work with the perinatal population. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute about why. But we're really excited to be here today. Christine, you want to tell us
Yeah,
about yourself?
absolutely. So I'm Christine Cunningham. I'm a registered social service worker in Ontario. I'm just east of Toronto. And I have been in the field for over 10 years now. And I came into working with the perinatal population. That was kind of my goal when I came into the field because I had my own experiences with severe postpartum anxiety and depression and some OCD symptoms as well. And yeah, I transitioned into perinatal and did lots of trainings and then found IFS and just really connected with that non-pathologizing way to explore parts and give them all the validation for showing up. So it kind of just really clicked with me right away. And so I did the IFS Institute Level 1 training and have subsequently did a bunch of different trainings on, particular topics. And working with Kelley and developing this curriculum has been awesome. So we can share it with you all and really finding that we both find, again, if I could speak for both of us, just like how well it pairs with, working with the perinatal population and how it's really helped us support those folks over the years.
Okay, so today, obviously, we're going to do our little welcome. We're going to tell you a little bit about our training program that we have coming up. We're going to do this first this time. And partially that is because we know you're here for the demo, but the demo is real. I'm going to play the client, and by play the client, I mean these will be my real parts who come forward, and sometimes they have big emotions. So to know that the demo you see will be real, it will be authentic. If you get nothing else from Christine and I, hopefully it's a sense of our authenticity in this. I don't think either one of us can do it any other way. But so we're going to give you the information up front, basically for my own sake, rather than right after the demo. So we'll tell you a little bit about that. We'll give you a little brief intro to the model of IFS in case you're coming at this with no background in it. We'll talk a little bit about what are cultural burdens and how do we see them and why do they work nicely with IFS into supporting the perinatal population. And then we'll do a demo with some of the cultural burdens I hold as a parent. And then at the end, we'll save some time for Q&A as well. So to tell you a little bit just about our upcoming training, so it will be held over 4 Wednesdays coming up in February. Day one will really focus on the model. So we'll be learning about the model. You will get a full overview of the model, so you don't need to come into this with any background knowledge on it. So we'll talk about the model, specifically why IFS and perinatal clients are a good fit. we will talk about kind of our own systems and what goes on in us and why we need to be aware of our own parts and hopefully accessing our own self energy, which that might be a new term for you if you're not coming to this with any background knowledge in IFS. And then we'll also talk about all these different parts of us and how they sometimes work together internally, sometimes they work against each other. So that will be all of day one. Day two, we're going to really dive into the parts. So we'll talk about our manager parts and our firefighter parts, which are both protector parts that are working to protect us. And we're going to talk about how do we get some space and what are the tools we use to try to get some space for those parts and for our clients to get that space from their parts. So it doesn't feel like it's overcoming our whole system. Day three, we'll really talk about now kind of what are those protector parts protecting. So we will dive into what IFS calls exiles, and these are really the like burdens that we all carry and all hold. And how do we work with those burdened parts or those wounded parts? How do we help heal those parts? What are the steps to doing that? And then, as we're talking about today, we'll really dive into cultural burdens and have a pretty big discussion around that. Because I think, the importance of it in the perinatal population of what we take on from the culture around us is really huge in supporting mental health. And then day four, we're going to talk about working with grief specifically and why IFS is, again, a beautiful way to work with grief and the parts of us that hold grief. And then we're really going to jump into our own parts in day four and understanding our own systems and how that can affect how we show up with our clients, how our clients' parts can affect us and our own parts. And then we really want you to know there's going to be practice sessions and demos throughout each week. So we'll have breakout rooms in each week. And we'll do some practice sessions as well each week, both unsupervised and supervised with us, because we know that it can be helpful to sometimes have us in there if there's a sticking point or you want a little feedback, but we also know it can be a bit intense sometimes to have the facilitator watching you all the time as well. So we will give you the opportunity to do both. Um,
And I will say too, if you're finding, working with your perinatal clients and maybe with some clients you're feeling stuck or you're noticing, and we'll see this a lot with cultural burdens, but even just different protector parts, where a client is like, I feel one way and I feel another way, and like I don't know how to move forward or I don't know what to do with that, and kind of feeling stuck with clients of where to go or feeling like common things, like things that are common to the client keep returning. This is where we find IFS so helpful in like shifting those parts and narratives and burdens and really helping clients to heal from those things and support them and what we might call moving forward. But it's really that deeper dive into those parts that are making someone feel stuck, making us feel stuck. And as well, like again, that also when client stories affect us or we have our own perinatal wounds or parts coming up, we talk a lot in the training about, how to support yourself in that, like how to, with IFS, with parts work. So it can be really helpful in that sense. And so, yeah, the course details, was it? Yeah, okay. Sorry. I wanted to just make sure I had the right slides there. And so like Kelly said, the training will be in February. So it will be Wednesdays in February, starting the first week. So February 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. And we will be starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so just if you're in a different time zone, just make sure to check that. We start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And the registration's open on the website, and the course fee is $1,600 Canadian plus HST. And today we're excited to share that the webinar participants can save 10% if you use the code SAVE10 in the checkout. And that's for the next 30 hours or so until tomorrow evening, end of day, tomorrow night. So save 10 will give you a 10% discount. And so we're very excited to share that. Was there a question in the chat, Kelly?
there is a question in the chat. 1 second. There are two questions.
Okay.
Oh, how many hours each day? Oops, sorry, just saw. Yes, 5 hours each day.
Yeah, sorry. And I didn't say that. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So we're going from 11 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern, so 5 hours a day. We will have breaks in there. And before like a week before the training starts, we're going to send like more information. And then 2 days before the trainings each day, we'll send the agenda with approximate break times so you can plan out your day. Because we know people have a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, just a brief kind of introduction to the model. If you've never, like, you've just kind of heard of IFS or you were curious, what is this IFS business? What is this all about? This is basically my interpretation of the model, of just the different parts of the model. And so we have the IFS model says we all have multiple parts, and those parts can be feelings, diagnoses, traumas, wounds, the roles we play, parts of daily living, or those protector parts, like the managers and the firefighters you see there. We would consider those protector parts. And then we have what is called the self at our core. And so we'll talk about this, but everyone might use different language around that. But in IFS, it's labeled the self. That's really like our guiding force, our core beliefs, where our values are. And we have these 8 C's. I mean, there's more than the letter C in there in how to describe self, but things like compassion and curiosity and H's like healing and harmony, things like those are things that we feel in the self. And so we talk about learning how to bring self energy in to help us explore all these different parts. And of course, in that context, which we'll talk about, is how do cultural burdens and legacy burdens, things that we've inherited maybe from our parents, our family, maybe intergenerational trauma, things like that, how do these cultural burdens and legacy burdens impact the development of our parts, even from a really young age, and then our perinatal parts, becoming parents or, whatever challenges we're going through in the perinatal period.
Yeah, so cultural burdens in the perinatal period. One of the reasons why I think I love this model so much, especially when working with perinatal population, is the non-pathologizing aspect of it. So we believe in IFS that we all develop these parts of us because they all have a positive intention of trying to protect us. And typically what they're trying to do is protect this like wounded part of us, often young, like a young part of us that took on these extreme beliefs about ourselves of maybe being unlovable or unsafe or not worthy. I will little caveat there though that oftentimes, especially in the perinatal population, we do see adult formed exiles and wounded parts as well, especially through things like birth trauma and NICU experiences, things like that. But I know for me working with the perinatal population, it would become very obvious, and I'm sure no matter what modality you're using, it becomes obvious a lot of times that when you're working with a client who's really struggling with some sort of core beliefs, that it didn't come from them. It didn't come that they hold these wounds or these beliefs that were not formed by themselves. And so, or like a singular event that caused it. And so in IFS, they call them cultural burdens. There's also legacy burdens, which Christine alluded to, which are burdens that kind of think of intergenerational trauma, but burdens that were passed along to us from, family members or whomever that came before us. And they're often intertwined with cultural burdens. And so cultural burden is a type of burden that an individual might carry, which originates not from a personal trauma, but from the collective, from society, from cultural systems. And for me, this feels huge in the perinatal population. I often find that, we've all held these different burdens along the way, these cultural burdens along the way. But I think sometimes after you become a parent, and I'm going to say, especially after becoming a mom, is like feeling like I've been like hit in the face with them and realizing that like there are some inherited or like cultural burdens inside of myself that really don't align with the other parts of me. And so in the training specifically, we're going to talk about and hopefully spend quite a bit of time discussing sort of 5 major cultural burdens that we in the West hold. And so this is patriarchy, so internalized patriarchy for sure. If any of you attended our last Lunch and Learn, it really, that kind of popped out unexpectedly in talking about mom rage, was internalized patriarchy, racism, individualism, ableism, and materialism. Today, the plan, I always say the plan because in IFS, you never know exactly where you're going to end up. The plan is really to work with a bit of my internalized individualism, which is really the belief that we have to do it alone. We can't ask for help. We're not doing a good job if we need help, among many other thoughts and feelings. And there's often like quite an intersection between all of these burdens that we hold. And one other quick note I just want to say in that in exploring today the cultural burden of individualism, that is also something we name as a bit of a critique of the IFS model. So although, yes, we work with the IFS model all the time and we both love it, we also think it's really important that we be critical of what we're using with our clients. And so one of the critiques we do have is that IFS can really feed into the burden of individualism because the whole idea is like you alone hold the healing power. And it sort of sometimes disregards the collective nature that we need in order for true healing to happen. So Christine and I both take a real relational approach to IFS, in the hopes of helping to not feed into that collective burden quite as much. And hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Christine?
Uh, no, I mean, you said it great, but I think, again, for myself, cultural burdens comes into play with every client that I
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
And so that's where I think like IFS has really helped me to actually have these conversations way more often, where maybe, before IFS or, long ago that I wouldn't have maybe approached these conversations as often, or going deeper dive into like all of these different kinds of burdens, like individualism, for example, or, collectivist culture and things like that because of the way I was raised, So all of again, we also bring all our own parts and experience into our work, of course, but with IFS, we really highlight it and like are able to see those things and work with them from a compassionate place. We all have parts that come into session, and that's okay. We don't look at that as like counter transference as something bad or negative. It's like, okay, my parts are here. Let me acknowledge them, give them some attention and see what they need. And so we really try to convey that in the training, but we talk a lot about that in supporting you in doing that as a provider and a practitioner. And so again, I think for me, these conversations are happening every day with all my clients and being able to really understand for the client because it's not the same for everyone. So that's the thing with IFS. We're using it to explore how these cultural burdens impact our clients. And it's going to be different for everyone. And like Kelley said, there's always so much crossover with all of these. So, yeah. And so let's talk about that a little more. When we talk about the word unburdening means like we are really getting rid of, unburdening these feelings and maybe memories or, things that we carry. Sorry, go ahead.
the beliefs.
Beliefs, thank you. That we carry for all these different reasons. And so in particular, when we look at, supporting clients to unburden cultural burdens and exploring them, we also look at those like how it becomes internalized beliefs. Like Kelley said, a lot of times well, probably all the time, when we explore these cultural burdens, it comes to be that like, oh, that doesn't align with me. That doesn't align with myself, with my core values. Maybe that's something I inherited from my parents, or maybe it's something I've inherited from society at large, which is, when we're talking about cultural burdens, that's what we're exploring. And so really looking at how much of this belongs to the client and do they align with it? And, how much of it doesn't belong to them? And then, if the parts want to, we can help them unburden these beliefs. Just as we would a trauma wound, really it's that processing piece of, how do we get to know it, understand it, sit with it, find out what these parts need from us in order to shift and change and, help the client parent, live their life more in alignment with their own values.
And I'm going to say one other thing just before we head into the demo is
Yeah.
I am always, what you just said of like, how do we help our clients to parent from their self or from their own beliefs? And what stood out in my head was like, instead of how they think they should.
Yes, exactly.
Um, and so for me, and that's where like so much of that distress comes from a lot of times in our client is this like real polarization between like what our actual beliefs and values are in how we want to parent or how we know we need to parent and how the opposition of how we're being told that we should. And so I always say I am on the lookout for a cultural burden or highly suspicious of a cultural burden every time I hear a client say, I should do this, or
Yeah,
I should be this way, or I shouldn't do this or feel this way.
yeah,
That is my big, always like red flag that there's probably something bigger here that was taken on.
absolutely. And so, is it okay, Kelly? I'm just going to ask, does anyone have anything like big that's kind of popping out for them in terms of like what we just shared about cultural burdens? We'll have time for Q&A, but anything that's popping out for anyone that they kind of, it's on the tip of their tongue? And if not, that's okay too.
Also recognizing that was a very quick overview of culture.
Yes, absolutely. And again, like we really take the time to go through this in the training, have like a deep discussion with, everyone involved and, who's there and really, really going over this. And also again, like you in the trainings, you'll see it come out in demos, we will point it out as well. Even if we're saying, okay, we're gonna like try to focus on this type of part, those cultural burdens are gonna come in. And so feel free to put anything in the chat that you want to say or questions you have, and we will answer them after. But we will do a little demo. And so I just want to remind people that, Kelly is an IFS therapist. She's being the client in this situation. So, but what that means is she knows the model really well. She also has a lot of practice in accessing her parts we are going to provide, demos of, when clients don't know the model at all or like struggle with like kind of turning internally. We are going to talk about those things, but just know for this demo, it's going to feel like it's going to look,
Yes.
easier, so to speak.
And on that note, I was thinking before we started too, is that I should name in this demo, we are basically going to jump right to the burden.
Yes.
This would not happen in a real life session. So I have done a lot of work with the protectors who have been protecting this burden previous to like this demo that's about to happen. And as we get into the demo, maybe I'll just provide a little bit of background of like what some of those protector parts are, just so people have an idea. But to know that it would be very common that you would spend like a session, if not multiple sessions, with the parts that are protecting this wound before being able to like jump right to the wound or right
Mm.
to the exile.
Yeah,
Or burden.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to name that before we.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And so, Kelly, if you can just take a deep breath and just check in with your system, with your parts, and just ask them if it's okay if you participate in this demo and, be a bit vulnerable and share about yourself today, knowing that people are here and that it's being recorded.
Yes, there's always that little like tingly nervous feeling, but yes.
Okay. Does that tingly, nervous feeling need any reassurance or anything from you?
No, it's okay.
No? Okay. And so for you, what part is present right now? Like what does it need?
Yeah, so there's that little storytelling part that just wants to pop in for a second to give a little bit of background, just so that the hopefully the burden makes sense.
Okay.
So I'll just say, I have been dealing with something in the last couple of months that's really taken a physical toll on me as well as like a mental toll on me as well. Um, in which I can't keep going the way that I have always kept going.
Mhm.
I will open my eyes for this part. And to just know that, and so the burden that is there is that like I have to do everything by myself. In the last couple of months, there has been no choice but to ask for help or to accept help. Um, and the protector parts that I have worked with around this are like a part that has like really been proud in my life of my ability to push through.
Mhm.
It kind of shows me like just pull up your bootstraps and keep going. Like no matter what, you just keep going.
Mhm.
And it's carried a lot of distress in that it can't physically, I can't let that part keep doing its job in the way that it's been used to.
Mhm.
Um, there's another part there that's just like you don't complain ever. Like you just keep going. Like you don't complain, you push through. Um, you keep going. I had made notes. And then there's this also like, so I'm a mom to an almost 8-year-old. And there is a very strong like caregiver martyr part that's around as well, which is quite tied to some internalized patriarchy as well
Mhm.
around this idea of like, it's my job. I should be the one who's taking my kid to the birthday parties. I should be the one who's taking my kid to hockey practice. I should be the one who's doing all of this. And so there's definitely some like internalized patriarchy that's living there around
And it's, I
my,
just want to clarify. Is it saying because you're the mom,
yeah.
right? You're a woman, you're the mom.
Um, and so there's that cultural burden, which I'm like, we could do a whole session over there
Yep.
around the internalized patriarchy. But the one that like sits really heavy for me, um, is this idea of like, can't ask anybody for help.
Right. I
Uh,
have to do it alone.
yeah, you do it alone. I think I said to Christine before, my parts really like songs. Um, and so there's a Taylor Swift song that says like you're on your own, kid, you always have been.
Mm.
Um, and like I can feel the emotion coming already.
Right.
Of like that speaks to this burden more than anything else.
Okay. Okay.
Here's the long background.
That's okay. So there's the background, and so that part of you that says I have to do it alone, and I am alone, and you feel that emotion coming up. What are you noticing in your body right now?
There's definitely like some tears there.
Okay.
Um, but I can feel this like deep sadness through my chest. Like it's a real heavy, like
Mm.
thinking feeling.
Right. Okay. Is it okay to sit with that sinking feeling and the tears coming up?
Yeah.
Okay. And are there any emotion words? I mean, you said sadness. Are there any other emotion words that are tied to this sinking feeling in your chest?
Sadness,
Mhm.
just this like real. There's like sadness, just that feeling of aloneness.
Mhm.
And like there's like a hint of fear as well
Okay.
of just like being alone.
Okay. And does it feel like a separate part or the same? Is the fear coming from the same place?
It's funny because I pointed over here, which
Yeah.
makes me think it's a separate, a little bit of a separate part.
Okay. And where do you notice that fear in your body?
It was like kind of tingly over here, but I think it just needed to be named
Okay.
and
And
it
yeah.
softened.
Okay. So
Yeah.
has it stepped aside?
Yeah.
And it's okay for us to keep focusing on more that sadness and that in your chest and
Yeah.
okay. And the sorry, do you get any visuals with this sadness part, this, you know, thoughts of being alone? Do you see anything with that?
So I get a sense of littleness. Like I don't,
Okay.
it feels a little like curled
Mm.
up.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's more of a sense like it just feels little.
Right. Okay. And do you visualize yourself maybe in the same place or space as this littleness?
You mean like adult me or the little me?
Yes, sorry, a little adult you, do you visualize yourself in that same space as you see that little?
I had not. Let
Sure.
me go there. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see more if you're closer or?
Yeah. It's like she's trying not to take up space.
Okay, so she's trying to keep herself little, not to take up space. Okay, you say she. Do you see who it is?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay. Do you get a sense of how old you are?
Little.
Little. Okay. Do you want to introduce yourself to her? Just let her know you're there and see how she reacts.
She's like very hesitant to look up.
Okay.
I get the sense that she's just like, there's no space for me.
Yeah.
Um, I just gotta figure this out by myself.
Okay. Do you want to tell her like it's okay if she doesn't want to look at you? That, would she be okay if she kept talking to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just tell her who you are and like that you're present day you and show her how old you are and maybe that you're a mom and, work you do?
So she's like, okay. But it feels more like she just wants to share.
Okay. Is it okay if you just let her share with you and you don't have to share anything out loud,
Yeah.
but you
Oh no,
can.
it's good. It's good.
Okay.
I can see it's been interesting. My mom has been there the whole time, but she's like way off in the like she's in the distance, but she's showing me like my mom,
Yeah.
and she's just like I learned this from her.
Oh, okay.
Like you just suck it up and keep going.
Okay.
And then behind her is my grandmother, who like my grandmother is still living. She's
Yeah.
96. She is tough as nails. Like that is the thing, right? That's what she's always been praised for. Like she is tough as nails. She has been through a lot and she never complains.
Right. And so your grandma and your mom taught you those things.
Yeah. And then I can see like behind them, like it's like this like
Like,
domino kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, I have the like clarity of like, yeah, I learned it from my mom. Like there's no space. Both mom and grandmother are caregivers for others.
Yeah.
That took up a lot of space.
Right.
Um, and I can see like my mom learned it because there was no space for her. And like she learned it from her mom because there was no space from her.
Mm,
And it is your job to just martyr yourself, like just run yourself into the ground for everybody else around you.
right.
And then
Right.
I can just see this like mass of like faceless people
Okay. Do you
behind her.
okay. Do you get a sense of like who they are?
Just people, just that whole like mama's martyr.
Mm,
Um,
like generation almost?
yeah, like just like the
Yeah.
whole, it's like it's funny though, because she is showing me too of like how confusing that mass of people are.
Mm,
Of like, one person tells you like you can do it on your own, you can do anything you put your mind to, like,
right.
you can have it all. But then the like next person is like, but you must build a village. And then
Mm,
but the next person is like, or this like this understanding like there is no village. Like we don't live in that world.
right,
And like how confusing that is to have all those conflicting messages as well.
right. So trying to navigate learning how to be a martyr, but like conflicting messages. So it's hard to learn how to do that job properly.
Yeah. But that's why you don't ask for help.
Right,
That's
right,
why you got to do, that's why you are on your own.
right. Conflicting messages, too hard to figure out. Like, yeah,
No support. And then like knowing that
no
like the
support.
mom, grandma, they have all done it. They all, I can hear my mom saying like, well, I did it without any help.
Right. Why? And is there
You
a,
know what your father was like
mm,
that kind of like, I can just hear it.
right, right. What was that like, or, what was the impact on little you? It sounds like you said there wasn't a lot of space for you, but when you learned that, like, what was that like for you, for the little one?
Lonely, like, and
Well,
scary.
yeah. And so, what does the little one want to tell you more about what that was like, or, the things that she's carrying, that loneliness and that fear? Does she want you to know more about it?
She's saying like, I needed help. Like this comes down to the whole, I think, misattunement kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
obviously she didn't say misattunement. So that was another part that popped in.
Right, right,
Um, but just knowing that like things were really hard, things were really overwhelming. I didn't always understand what was happening to me.
right.
I'm just showing like she's showing me like the seams in my socks
Mm,
and how distressing that was.
yeah,
And then just being yelled at like for it.
right,
And I just feel like I can hear her just saying, like, I just needed them to take off my socks.
right, right. But feeling like you couldn't ask for that,
Yeah.
and that
There was
causing,
like always repercussions if you asked for something.
right. Does she want to tell you, or do you know those repercussions?
Oh, just like being shamed or being told like you're being ridiculous. Like,
Right. So that shame became equated with having needs and needing help.
yeah, there's like an IFS part coming in
Okay.
that wants to just say like, um, I've already asked her the burden. like,
Yeah. Yep.
um, like there's like two separate burdens being held.
Okay.
There's the IFS, the like teacher part of me that wants to say like this, a client would typically not just come in with this.
Right. No, definitely not.
Um, that there's like this one, it's like a split where like 70%, give or
Hmm.
take,
Yeah.
of this burden of like needing to be alone, having to do it all on your own, definitely like was passed down to me, like it's not mine.
Yeah.
But 30% is holding this like belief of like all I can hear is like can't ask for help, it's a trick. Like if
Mm,
they give you help, there will be repercussions. Like it's a trick.
right.
And
So
like,
you'll get in trouble. You'll feel shame again.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
Which, yeah,
mine. Like,
got it.
yeah,
That's your internalized belief.
yeah.
Which one of those, this one that was like passed down, from your mom, your grandma, probably generations before, or that, smaller percentage of you that has internalized that belief, like, I can't ask for help because there'll be repercussions. Which one needs your attention first?
The bigger one, because the smaller one she's saying is smaller, but it's like way more intense. It's gonna need.
Right. It's going to need a little more time, more support. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so, can I just ask, like, is she still like kind of crouched down? Okay. What is she doing?
she is like shut up and was just like, I don't want this.
Okay. Because what's it feeling like for her to carry that burden that's not hers?
She's like it's so heavy. Like that's what keeps her like hunched down, like it's like a weight pulling her.
Right. What is that like for her that she's even sitting up?
Like she can breathe a little bit.
Okay. And where is she right now, like in terms of place or space?
Yeah, it's interesting. It was just like this like dark space.
Okay.
Um, and just like with just the even like naming it and sitting up, it has like
Yeah.
lightened, but I
Oh,
can't like it's not a specific place.
got it. Does she want to stay there or would she like to go somewhere else?
Yes. Part of me is like, do I just make this up? And I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Um, she would like to go somewhere else, but she says doesn't, she can't until I've dealt with that, like
The other part as well.
the other part as well.
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't feel safe.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
It feels like a trick.
Okay, that's fair. And is there, in terms of that, belief that you learned from your mom and your grandma that, especially women in your family, they martyr themselves, they do everything independently, they're tough as nails, they don't need help from anyone else, and they just get on with it. Does that burden and little you need you as an adult now to do anything different for her when she was learning that?
She's saying to me, like, I want to be soft. I
Hmm,
don't want to be tough as nails. Like, she's like, I want them out of me.
right. And does she have a sense of how she wants to get that out of her?
Yeah, it's like it feels like such a gruesome visual. It feels like a whole bunch of nails, like on a
Right.
board that just needs to be like pulled out.
Hold
She's
up.
like, can you help me? Like, just help.
Yeah. Could you help her do that, Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to take your time, visualize that, and come back when you're done.
Yeah. She's so little. And she's just like, just
Oh.
now, she's just like standing there, like holding this like board of nails
Okay.
board.
Did she want you to take that board of nails from her?
No, she wants to give it to my mom.
Okay. So let her go with it and let her give it back to your mom and see, can her mom keep it for her? And if not, maybe your grandma. Come back to me when you're ready.
She's just like so little.
Yeah, she's so little.
She just like went up to my mom. She's like, these are mine.
No.
Want them.
And how did your mom take them? Did your mom say she can keep them or do something with them?
She turned and handed them to my grandma,
Okay. And what is your grandma doing with them?
turning and handing them to the people.
That
And
big
it's
crowd
just like
going.
going through it.
Okay. Can you just let it keep going and see where it stops? And if you notice that person or who's holding it.
It's like they're all outside now.
Okay.
And it's like this, like, just like winding road of people. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
just going. Like I
It's
can't see it anymore.
so far. And does that feel like kind of like an ancestral line? Like they're related to you in some way?
No, it's like more like culture.
Culture, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they all women?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And
Funny enough. Yeah.
interesting. And do you see where it stopped? Has it stopped moving back?
It's just like out of view. It's like I can
Okay.
actually see this like red sunset, like red sun behind.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
like gone into that.
Right into the sunset. Okay. Check in with little Kelly. How is she feeling right now? What does she need from you?
I've just told her like it's okay to be soft.
Hmm.
Um, that actually what is like needed right now, like both towards myself, towards my family, but like life as a whole
Oh, yeah.
out there right now is like softness is actually what's really needed.
Okay. And how does little Kelley feel about that?
She says like that feels kind of hard though.
Yeah.
And I
What
just, yeah, like it is a bit, but it's okay.
and what makes it okay? What does she need from you to believe that it's okay to try to be soft?
She needs one for me to promise to come back to deal with that other part that says it's a trick.
Okay. Can you promise to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two, she's like in those moments when you like do accept or ask for something, and there's actually just this like angry part with the internalized patriarchy that showed up. That's like you're not asking for something, you're just co-parenting. Uh,
Right.
like,
Yep. That's
just
okay. Yep.
to show like, hey, like just check in with her and be like, look, it's okay, like we're safe,
Yes.
it's okay.
Yeah. Just keep checking in with her, keep reminding her, reassuring her.
Yeah,
And can you do that?
yeah, yeah,
And does she believe you on both counts?
yeah.
Okay. Can you thank her for, opening up to you and, doing all of that with you? And just, again, reassure her we're going to be okay and I'm going to come back.
Yeah, she just like gave me a big hug.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Are you okay to come back to the room?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Take a breath and how how are you feeling now?
good. I
Yeah.
knew there was like something like her there, so that
You
was
knew she was there.
good to
Yeah.
meet her.
Well, thank you. And I thank you so much for your vulnerability. I appreciate you. And
She,
so I want to say too that like we would do, there's more steps to unburdening, but checking in with those protector parts that Kelley talked about that were there, really protecting that younger version of her. We would check in with those parts. Did they see the unburdening? Did they see what happened? What do they need from Kelley? And like what qualities does, this little one want to invite in of, coming into cell, like basically that align with Kelley and her values and herself, we would do that as well. And so that's something that, if I can say this, Kelley, that I'm sure like she'll do afterwards, whether it's, with a friend or someone else. So yeah, there's more to that. And like Kelley said, again, that is quick and but she's done a lot of work with her protector
yeah.
parts to get to that point already. And so thank you so much, Kelley, for your vulnerability, and thank you to your little you too. Thank you,
Yep.
Josephine. Yeah, so any thoughts or questions about the demo, and then we can switch to any questions about the course. And you can put in the chat or you can come on camera and just shout it out. Don't worry. And remember, we're recording, so if you don't want to be on camera, that's okay. And if anyone had, just while people are kind of gathering their thoughts, if anyone had any of their own parts come in or react that are feeling some things in their body, their emotions, please check in with yourself if you can after this, take a minute or, maybe later in the day, check in with yourself, see how you're feeling and just like acknowledge what's coming up, if you can. Thank you so much, Kelley, for being so open and vulnerable with us. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and we do so in the training we switch demos. Sometimes we'll ask, if anyone in the audience wants to participate in the demo. And if no one does, that's okay. Kelley and I work together. We got lots of parts. Um, so that's never a problem. But yeah, like these demos are authentic and real because we do, that experiential learning, is really key, right? It's not just reading a textbook. This was really interesting. So basically, the therapy goes pretty deep pretty quickly.
It can, yes.
It can. Yes, and I would say for the most part with my clients, yes. And I have had some clients where that getting to that process took years
Yeah.
with the same part. So
Yeah.
with the same wound, trauma wound. So
I do find though that like things like cultural burdens, because I don't like they are extremely ingrained in us, but there's something about you can often get to them fairly quickly.
yeah,
Sometimes, though, depending, there needs to be like a lot of work with the protectors in cultural burdens because we're not denying reality, right? So when we're talking about like racism and ableism and like especially like those kind of burdens, like we're not denying those protectors realities. Like sometimes those protector parts need to be there. We can maybe help them to not need to be like there all the time and can unburden some of those beliefs, but we are not like, I just want to be like generally like we're not denying reality and understanding that like if I my experience might look very different than someone else's experience. um Sorry, that went a little bit. So yes, sometimes it goes, you need a lot of work with the protectors before you can get to the burdens. I have some clients like you said, Christine, where yeah, like depending if they have like huge complex trauma histories, something like that, then like yeah, sometimes it takes a really long time to get to the deeper work.
yeah,
Um, but other times I've had clients who've done other forms of therapy and haven't been able to get to the thing and get to the thing really, really fast. Sometimes it scares them a bit, but we always listen to the other like protector parts that are coming in that are saying like, hey, this is a bit scary.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I would say it can move pretty fast.
Absolutely. And Rebecca said it was so powerful and emotional to watch. I felt a lot of sadness and relatability to adult Kelley, and then saw myself in some of my parenting with my son, where I feel he's too much due to his sensitivity, much like little Kelley felt. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. And that's the thing, Rebecca, and for everyone is like, our parts come into it. And
Oh,
that's why we spend a lot of time talking about that because even if you don't, use IFS or use parts work language, your parts come into sessions, right? Now they have in the past and they will keep doing till the end of time. And so it's important for us to be able to recognize that and work with that. And another great question Josephine asked, can IFS in general be integrated with other modalities? There's some resonance with EFT.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We talk about that again specifically of like kind of how to navigate that. But absolutely, we're not here to say like just come to IFS and only IFS. Of course, like I'm bringing things from all the things I've learned over time and integrating that. It's like creating your own model,
Yeah.
really,
And it,
which I love.
yeah, and part like two of the qualities of self energy are clarity and creativity. And for me, sometimes when I know I'm with a client and I'm really in self energy, there will be this like moment of like, this is not how this would like typically go, but like it feels like this is going to work. And so I will give something a try. So we also do like consult groups. And so we had a client, or I had a client in the consult group, so another therapist the other day who was like, I just felt like I was going to be able to do EMDR with this one part. And she's like, so I did parts work, got into the part, got to the exile, and then did EMDR with the exile. And she was like, it works.
Yeah,
And so I think, yeah, it's all about just like, it's not a singular modality, which it is, but you can integrate it into your practice in the way that means the most to you.
absolutely. Like you can still, and even things like using psychoeducation, like it's not like we're just only doing these deep dives with these parts. Like when psychoeducation's needed, it's needed, and we share that with the client, with their parts, whatever comes in. And, like EFT, definitely, we have a lot of folks who use EFT and IFS, ACT, EMDR, like Kelley said. I mean, really anyone. And again, it's not about like, pure adherence to the model. It's we really believe and teach and talk about creating your own model for how you work. We don't want you to sound like us.
Yeah.
We want you to sound like you. And so we talk a lot about that. And of course, sharing our experience and our, what we've learned along the way, which has worked and not worked for us. And you take that and you integrate that in your work. Yeah. So if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. These are the ways you can get in touch with us. You can email us if you know we want to make it simple. info@ifspathways.ca. We will send out an email post um, lunch and learn.
Maybe.
Yes, with information, details, and you can simply reply to that email. It's not like an automatic or automated email. You can
We're
just
there.
reply. Yeah. Just ask us. And if you are wanting to have more clarification of just understanding, like, can this model really fit for me, or this training, then also feel free to email us if you want to like hop on a quick like 15-minute consult call for free, of course. You just let us know. We'll figure out a time to meet. Again, the training starts in 3 weeks from today. And don't forget about that code, save 10. We'll put it in the email again till tomorrow night. You can get a 10% off. And thank you so much to everyone who watched and who signed up. We will be sending out the recording, so you will be able to see it if you want to review it or watch the demo again. Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.